Hello everybody. Welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel. Looks like I don't know what happened. I swear to God, it's always something. Alright. Let's just get rid of this. Unbelievable. Anyways, so hope you're all doing well tonight. Welcome back. So I'm just going to pop this in the center. I did resize it and have it all good to go before, but of course, failure. Okay. So tonight, I wanted to go over William Buhlman's excellent lecture here. It is titled, What You Need to Know Before You Die. And what I like about Mr. Buhlman is he is extremely well-versed in out-of-body experience work. He is a teacher at the Monroe Institute. And if you check the description, I kind of discuss how I feel he is in the know about this. When I play this video tonight, you're gonna get a feel that he knows. But you know, I just get the sense that this isn't something that is necessarily always gonna be said flat out. And if this is his way of delivering the message, that's fine, as long as people are hearing it. And I think his approach is healthy, because it's getting the message through that everything is within you and that you have to make this happen. That you are the person, you are the soul, the spirit in control of your own destiny to leave here. So, hope you're all doing well, like I said. I know I'm a little a little messed up here, but it's had nothing but technical issues before I got on here. I thought I resolved them, and then of course all hell breaks loose right before I go live. So just a notice to the mods out there tonight. I've been having a little bit of trolling going on, so if you see any trolls, just ban them. I don't even care. I'm not gonna be entertaining people bullshit tonight. So let's get to it. So, William Buhlman, busting out the truth bombs on all of us. So, let me just pull this up here. Alright, so let's get to it.
As some of you know, I did a 4-hour for me it's a mini workshop, because my normal workshop is quite lengthy, but it's very in-depth, and the topic kind of demands it, because it's so important, I feel, to our evolution, because we must learn to evolve beyond the body with some skill, I feel. That's where we're all headed, let's face it. We're all moving beyond the body. What I'd like to cover today, well, just briefly, I'd like to mention that starting this year, I started a new workshop that covers the afterlife, and I figured this is a good place, if any, to introduce it. It's a 3-day workshop at the Monroe Institute, which I call Destination Higher Self, and it explores the topic of what I call enlightened transition. We think of death as the end, unfortunately, in our culture, and it's not, it's just the beginning. It's how can we take this pivotal event and turn it into like a propulsion unit to a higher state of consciousness for ourselves. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit. My latest book is called Adventures in the Afterlife. I just want to mention it. It was published.
Just so you know, I highly recommend this book. I actually recommend all his books. Excellent material. He's got Adventures in the Afterlife, Adventures Beyond the Body, Secret of the Soul, Beyond the Astral, and then he's got some great Monroe Institute audio files. One is Out of Body Techniques, the other one's Destination Higher Self Now, and then there's How to Have an OBE. He also has one on how to obtain past life memories via past life regression. So just thought I'd throw that out there before he sums it up, just goes through this. This isn't that long, and then he's going to go right into it. And I highly recommend listening to this one all the way through, maybe even a couple times on your own afterwards too.
Last year, I believe, and it covers the journey beyond the body in a different way that's normally talked about. And I'd like to give you some background on that. In 2011, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer of the tonsil and lymph node. I had a 5-centimeter tumor in my neck. And as any of you have ever had cancer knows, when you get that diagnosis, it's scary. You feel like somebody, when I got it, it was like a punch in the stomach, because I've always been so healthy, I've never even went to the doctor. So this is in March of 2011, and it's quite a game changer in your mindset, because suddenly all the old priorities are erased and you start to think about other things. And I had to make quick decisions, and I was never thought about the afterlife, to be honest, that much. I was involved in out-of-body exploration and just learning about what I am and the nature of reality. That was always my passion. And suddenly I was pushed into a whole different direction because of the prognosis. I was, I could die. And the doctor was quite blunt about it. I had to make quick decisions because my tumor was so large. So you had to move fast, and I had to make plans. And I decided then, because of the potential of my own death, that I wanted to create my own enlightened transition. And the topic I want to talk about is really something that I developed for myself. And I want to share it with you because I think it is effective. We've lost something in our culture. We've lost a lot of the ancient knowledge about transition. Unfortunately, in today's world, there's a lot of fear-based. We look at medical science, largely looks at death as a problem to be, and as it's the end. It's a biological machine has died, it's the end. And we've lost a lot of the ancient traditions and knowledge, but one of the ones that I found that resonated with me, and I'm going to just share this very quickly, was the Buddhist trend, the Buddhist approach. And I'm not a Buddhist, but I really appreciate the idea of how they handle death and their concept of the bardos and how your thoughts create your reality after death. And that resonated with me because I know it was true. So I did some study, quite a bit of study, and it was clear to me that the Buddhists had a very clear way of handling death that we have lost. When someone dies in Tibetan Buddhism, a monk or several monks will be next to the person dying, and they will chant for days and days next to the person that is about to make this great transition of consciousness that we call death. They will chant, "Go to the clear light of the void, go to the clear light of the void, go to the clear light of the void." They are instructing this person on their journey of consciousness to go beyond all form-based realities. Think of this for a moment. Nowhere do we teach this in our culture. We talk about surrounding yourself with love and going to the light. But they have a very enlightened approach to this, I find. Go beyond. Go to the clear light of the void. Which means go beyond all form-based realities, go beyond the bardos, go beyond the astral, what today we commonly refer to in metaphysical literature as the astral plane and its various millions of consensus realities that exist. They instruct their loved ones to bypass all of the form-based realities that we take for granted as heaven or home. Is it possible that we ask too little of ourselves?
I think he's spot on. I think he's so spot on, it's not even funny, that the way death has been portrayed and delivered in Western society specifically is just ridiculous. And you know, he mentions the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which is a really good newbie material, and it's definitely suggested that you take, you know, you read it, but there's parts of the Tibetan Book of the Dead which are not as well explained as it should be. And there is a book I'm going to show a little later on towards the end of the video that I highly, highly recommend everybody get, because it's not... It was hidden. The book was hidden, okay? And anyways, we'll get into that later. I don't want to clog it up too much. Here we go.
Is it possible we've lost some primary skills that are so important to our entire evolutionary process? And I think that's exactly what has happened. We have the ability to do so much more than just provide comfort for our loved ones and provide a loving environment. That's all positive, but I think we can take it to another level through an enlightened approach to the whole concept of death, because there's no end. I know from having 41 years of out-of-body experiences that there is no such thing as death. It's just a continuation. We take it all with us, our entire state of consciousness. And as I said at this panel that was just a moment ago, if we believe that we're spiritual beings, and almost all of us do, and if we believe that we shape and mold our reality, as most of us feel we do, then why in the world don't we have the ability to shape and mold the non-physical, thought-responsive universe that we enter into at the moment of our death?
Absolutely. I mean, that's so well said. It's not even funny. And he goes into how everything is, you know, based on your belief and your belief systems. Everything that we've been talking about here on the channel. And he goes into a decent amount of depth in how we form our afterlife. But the key thing is to not have these attachments if you want to escape. It's that simple. So let's continue.
Of course we do. This is what the Buddhists have been talking about for 1400 years. The Tibetan Book of the Dead it's focused on this concept that the bardos, or these non-physical consensus realities, are thought responsive. And it's up to us to empower ourselves to take command of our state of consciousness and our reality. Not only in this life, but in the afterlife as well. We are not the victims at death. We are the proactive creator of our reality. But this is only as powerful as you internalize within yourself. If you feel at the moment of death that you are a victim and you must just follow whatever belief system that you've identified with, then that's truly what you are. But we're so much more than that. We have so much more capability if we exercise it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's it for me. I'll stop on a high note. Next speaker, please.
Drop the mic.
Okay, so what I did when I found out that I had cancer and I could die because of the tumor I had, it was a very fast-moving cancer, and I had to make fast decisions, and everything about it is scary because you're doubting yourself whether you're making the right decisions, and it's a tough time to go through, as some of you already know. This is what I created, and this is what I did as my action plan. I created a written plan for my enlightened transition. The first thing I did, I wrote it down. I call it the spiritual directive. I put it in my new book, and I have a CD about this called A Higher Destination, Higher Self. But I created a detailed plan for exactly what I want to be done at my deathbed. How I want my sacred space, I believe in sacred spaces, how I wanted it created. It doesn't matter if it's in a hospice environment or in my home. Home, you have a little more freedom, but you can create a sacred space in a hospice environment. I selected allies, which of course, from my primary ally is my wife of 35 years. She was my ally. I knew with my written directive, she would follow it. So it's important to get an ally that will support your wishes. Then I defined what I thought was my sacred space, which is very specific, because I like Buddhist statues and stuff like that. So that was mine, but it can be anything that you want it to be. Now, and this is the important, for over 1,000 years, as I mentioned earlier, the Tibetans have been chanting by the side of someone about to die. That is, for most of us, not practical. Let's face it. We all are. I have twin boys. One of them's here today. And they're living busy lives. I cannot, in any way, I'm not going to ask my sons to sit by my side and chant for days. But
And I think where he goes with this is great, because it's a good alternative considering the technology that we have available to us. So give it a listen, and I think seriously, a lot of what he says can be applied to all of our plans, and you make it personal to you. Everything needs to be personal to you on how you want to handle your death and your plan in relation to that.
What we can do, he would love that. I may change my mind, though, at any time, Eric, just so you know. So just be ready. But we can create our own affirmations and put them on a CD, can we not? What is your spiritual affirmations for yourself? It doesn't have to be the way the Tibetans said. I use a term that's very succinct and clear. Now I go to my higher self, or higher self now, or spiritual essence now, whatever resonates for you. Spiritual essence now, the source, whatever term is most meaningful for you. What do you feel is the core of your spiritual self?
Now you see how Mr. Buhlman is putting the decision on you. He's not saying that he's gonna, roll up an astral ship like in the movie Soul and try and go help and save people. Okay, he's putting you in the driver's seat. He's putting me in the driver's seat for us to take destiny into our own hands and make a clean exit out of here. That's why I respect his work greatly. And this is just his, his work on, working things you should do before you die. His out-of-body experience work is absolutely incredible. And everything that he's done with the Monroe Institute, the CDs the audio files you can get, absolute gold mine.
Why limit ourselves to the bardos, as the Tibetans say? Why limit ourselves to the consensus realities of the astral, which, by the way, 99.99% of all humanity goes to?
See?
Because of attachments.
Attachments.
And because of their self-identity as a male or a female human. Forget all of that stuff. Focus while you are in the process, if at all possible, focus on your highest spiritual intention. You create it,
You.
you put it into a verbal format, and you record it. You could overlay it with music. I've created that. If you're interested, it's called Destination Higher Self. It was what I did for myself, and Monroe Institute finally created it for me last month.
And we can all do the same. You know, you can get his CD or his audio file as an example, but we should all be making our own. You know, we should, think of whatever type of music you would like to go out with. Think of whatever affirmations you would like to apply on your deathbed and have it repeating. That, is going to be a reminder of your sovereignty and that you are not going to withdraw your consent again to end up back here.
And it's a CD essentially with affirmations, with higher self now, and many other supportive affirmations that I direct my consciousness as I'm lying in my final moments. I will have a support mechanism without inflicting time or whatever on my family unit. And I know from hospice work, we can all have an auto-repeat CD player next to us in this transition. You can do this for your loved ones. Have it playing by their bedside. You create the affirmations. If you don't like mine, create your own.
There you go.
I created 2 separate CDs. One is designed, though, to be played at your bedside.
Now, see, again, I'm going to keep pointing out what a good message this is, because it's really important that you're not listening to these other people who are telling you to go in between the net, or follow this guru or that master or this book club or whatever it may be. You are in the driver's seat. You are going to be the control of your own destiny, or be in control of your own destiny.
And it's to replace the monks that used to be next to us 1,000 years ago in our incarnations in Tibet. That's the purpose. To give us an opportunity for an enlightened transition. You play it by your bedside before, during, and after death. And now you detail. This is about intention. Your highest spiritual intention is focused upon. And you repeat that internally, and it's repeated externally. Your entire space is saturated with your intention. Think of the power of this. And with modern technology, we don't need monks around us. You create it yourself. Empower yourself for this important transition of consciousness. Empower your loved ones for this.
That's right.
It's critically important, I feel, for our evolution. And I'll explain why later. Detail your instructions, including what I call a spiritual directive. You put it in writing and you attach it to your will. You put it in detail. This is what I want done at my bedside. And you place it in writing and have someone you know that will follow through. And next, of course, you focus your mind on your highest spiritual intention. And it doesn't matter if the person is in a coma, because as doctors will tell you, the last thing that goes in the human is hearing.
And I've mentioned that on this channel. The last thing that goes is your hearing. That's so important. So that's why having this playing is so crucial. Whatever you're going to customize it to.
That's why the Tibetan Book of the Dead the concept is you go to your highest spiritual intention upon hearing. And now, and this is the last issue, which some of you may find a little bit interesting. I firmly feel that cremation is important, and I'm going to explain why just in a moment.
Same here.
I know we live in a Judeo-Christian, and most of us were brought up in that kind of background. Why is it that half the planet is cremated? All of the Buddhists and all the Hindus. It's not because somebody once told me, it's because of lack of space. No. They wish to break attachments to form in the body.
Exactly.
The Tibetan Book of the Dead is very clear about this. They wish to break the attachments that we have to our biological vehicle. And cremation is one good way to do this. Why is there hauntings today? Think about it. Because people are still attached to their, not only their biological bodies, but to their homes, to their physical environment. There's nothing more negative to our spiritual development and accelerated growth than hanging around the physical world.
Bingo. And I'll even go a step further than he does. All of it. All of it. I think if you even have even any of those hang-ups in the smallest way, you are prone to get lost and then end up, boom, right back under the grip of this system. So that's why everything needs to be shedded. And I think cremation is an excellent part of that, because you're putting that intention out there that you are willingly, and you're putting, again, you're putting the intention out there that you want that material attachment destroyed and done away with, so you can proceed the way you want to with no attachments. It's one thing of many, right?
It is a total null point to our spiritual evolution. And part of it is the attachment, because people are so identified with their biological body. Oh, this is me. This body is me. No, it's not. Our biological bodies are just temporary vehicles of our consciousness, and we will all be exiting them and entering a more subtle energy body that's already part of us. We're transferring our consciousness, same way we do in a near-death experience and an OBE. I know this from having many, many, many out-of-body experiences. This, I feel, is critically important to the evolution of each of us individually and all of our loved ones, because we can accelerate our spiritual evolution. It's like it can be a rocket taking off at this transition point, instead of just hoping for the best. It's our choice. It's always our choice.
Exactly, right? Remember, everything is consent. It all boils down to consent. It's all our choice. But always keep in mind that any deviation off of that choice, even a forward movement towards the light, or a forward movement towards something else, the illusion, and whatever the illusion may be, family members, pets, doesn't matter what it is, any single attachment that you push forward, and you are consenting by moving forward and going towards something, or agreeing to go with something that isn't you. It's likely, it's almost guaranteed to be an illusion. Something, you know, almost like a fishing hook. You know, it's sitting out there, it's dangling into the water with a nice big worm on it, and it's just waiting for you to bite it. You know, you might not bite the worm right away, but eventually you're going to be tempted to. And the point is to throw that all away and make sure that it's not even a temptation in the first place. Right?
And this is so important. The choices we make are critical. And this transition that we experience at death is an opportunity. It's not the end. It's a powerful spiritual opportunity. This is the way the Hindus view it. This is the way the Buddhists have viewed it. This is nothing new. But we've lost it in our materialistic culture, haven't we? And with these belief systems, layered upon beliefs and layered upon beliefs, the core element of spirituality is often buried under all of these beliefs made by man. Anything made, the first thing I learned 41 years ago when I began to have out-of-body experience.
Made by man.
every belief I'd ever been taught and learned was
Wrong.
flawed. The first year of my out-of-body experience, it was mind-blowing at first. I was brought up a Lutheran, 6 years in Lutheran school. My mother and family were very Lutheran. I had the confirmation, the whole 9 yards. When I had my first out-of-body experience, it was a mind-blower. It's like, oh my God, there's a vast, multi-dimensional universe for us to explore. And here we are latching on to these man-made beliefs that change.
It's pathetic, isn't it? It's pathetic. We have been hoodwinked. We have been taken for the biggest ride in the universe. And all I keep saying to everyone who's listening on this channel, do you want to risk it? I don't care what you believe. Do you want to risk it? Are you willing to roll the dice and risk it? That maybe this is wrong and just poo-poo it away and say, no big deal. Or do you want to at least entertain it and work on a plan for yourself to rid yourself of all the attachments, so when the time comes, at least it's there? And that's what I keep trying to say, like, over and over, guys. Like, it's so important that at least you entertain the idea, work on a plan, and you know what? If everything's wrong, so be it. But the latter is really messed up. We're talking about tons of proof of, we're born ignorant. Memory wipe, okay? We don't have recollection of our past lives. We're not all babies here. We're not all babies. We know that we've probably been here for a long time. We also know that we've existed in some form prior to this and have been blocked from those memories. Why? Why are our memories not able to be tapped into? Why don't we carry those over? I mean, I'm not even talking, we barely have any, right? It's not like we came here and we have some. We have barely any that we can base anything off of. Just think about that. That's all I'm saying. It's not something we should be gambling and rolling the dice on. It's way too risky. And I know most of the people listening here relate with this stuff. And I'm just trying to show the best examples I can of some incredible, people, researchers, doctors, all that stuff that can be placed in a big puzzle, and you look at it and say, okay, well, I'm just going to consider it, and I'm going to do the research on my own, because that's what it really takes. I can sit here and talk all day long, but if you guys aren't doing your own research and seeing what's going on, it's not going to mean as much. It takes time. I promise you. Well, I don't promise you, but I say that it is more than highly likely that you will see what I'm talking about, and other people are talking about, if you just put in the time. Even for the new people that have shown up and are just touching on this subject, I highly recommend, you take a couple days out of each week going forward for the next couple years and invest some time. Read the NDEs, read the read the NDEs, watch, listen, whatever. NDEs, past life regressions, pre-birth memories, all this, shared death experiences, all this stuff. Just out-of-body experience work. Just spend some time. That's all I'm saying. You got this. Let's keep going.
On the whim of some guy in a building? It's insane. Okay, so what is a common element of spiritual experiences throughout history? And this is seldom talked about, because we often in our society, we don't connect the dots. We accept what we're given at birth, and then we think we're changing a few things We incorporate into our belief system a few elements of karma. Oh, I'm making big steps now. I believe in karma. Oh, and now I'm really getting enlightened. I believe in reincarnation. Wow, I'm on my way now. But we're hanging on to these core stuff. Maybe the time has come to break free. What is the core?
That's right.
When you look at the core of all religious texts, of all profound spiritual experience throughout the entire history of mankind, what is it? It's love, and it's also the experience of transcending the body on some level. When you hear about all of these experiences, for instance, Revelation begins with I was in the Spirit.
I was in the Spirit.
When you hear about all these people that have had, that we consider special, because they've had these experiences, there's one common element, if you explore this, and that is these transcendental experiences, including near-death experiences, have a common element. They all, on some level, incorporated a transcendence of the body. Call it what you will. The term out of body is not even a good term. It's a transcendence of our biological body for some period of time, and then these people come back and wrote these profound texts, whether it be Revelations or the Quran, where Muhammad talks about the 7 dimensions, traveling through 7. He certainly wasn't in his body when he's traveling through 7 dimensions. So, but this is often lost. Why are OBEs, why are out-of-body experiences, and especially self-initiated experiences, important to you? In my books, I detail 27 benefits. The most important one is self-knowledge and verification. It's so critically important in this stage of humanity that we begin to verify these things, verify personally. It's critically important to our, not only our personal evolution, but the evolution of the planet, I feel. Think of it, there's 7.2 billion people on the planet. The vast majority have no idea where they were before they were born. Think of it. Not a clue. They suddenly were born in a biological body and they're making the best of it. They don't know they're on this 80, 90-year journey on this planet, and vast majority people don't have a clue where they're really going. They have cute terms like heaven, but they don't know what the destination truly is.
See? I mean, really, this is absolutely an incredible lecture of someone who knows what's up. Mr. Buhlman knows exactly what's going on. I would bet probably my life on it. That's how convinced I am that he knows. This is a man who's gone out of body a ton of times, written books, worked at the Monroe Institute, done a number of lectures, does workshops. This guy knows what's up. And again, like we are born ignorant. We're born ignorant, not knowing where we come from, not knowing what we've done before. And he's just nailing it on the head for the audience to hear. It's beautiful.
They hope and pray it's a nice place.
Yeah, I'll post a link.
They don't know why they're here. They don't know the spiritual purpose for it. It's like a collective insanity.
Yes.
Has gripped all of the planet, where we settle for so little.
Yeah, and what do I say constantly? That the population of Earth is a collective of people that have Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome on steroids.
And then what happens? And ask yourself just one question. You know, what would you believe today if you would have been born in China or Iran? It would have been totally different. I can tell you that from living in 4 years in China. it would have been totally different than today. So can you really depend on beliefs?
Nope.
The key to our spiritual evolution is to obtain the answers, to become empowered, and to obtain the answers for ourselves. And OBEs, self-initiated OBEs, is one way to do it. So is meditation if you go deep enough. There's other ways. But this is one way that's largely been overlooked. The beauty of this is that they can be self-initiated and they are repeatable. Nobody wants to repeat a near-death experience, do they?
Mm-hmm.
No one. But OBE, out-of-body experiences, can be repeatable. You can learn techniques to do it. The shamans have been doing it for 10,000 years. The Tibetans have been doing it. The Hindus have been doing it. Yogis have been doing it. They all have their own semantics. They all have their own lingo. But this has been a common phenomena, core element of and spiritual practice from the beginning of time. But in our modern materialistic culture and society, this is lost because we're totally focused on our bodies and the physical surroundings. There's many benefits. Spiritual self-knowledge, reduction in the fear of death.
Yep.
I have no fear of death because I know it's an
Me either.
illusion.
Yep.
From personal experience, not just belief.
Well, I don't have
And
experience.
preparation for the afterlife. The more empowered you are now, the more empowered you will be after death. All of humanity is playing a multi-level chess game, and they're only aware of one level of the game.
Hear that? Listen again.
Think of it. All of humanity is playing a multi-level chess game. And yet we settle for so little and settle for just to accept this one level because we were told in our childhood somewhere, I was,
Me too.
oh, just believe. The answer, just have faith.
Yeah.
We have the ability as powerful spiritual beings to obtain the answers. Okay, briefly, what have we learned from 40 years of documented near-death experiences and OBEs about the afterlife? We've learned a tremendous amount. The problem is, it's often still, there's so many books, there's 50,000 books published every year now. Okay, thank you, Eric. This is just the basics of what we learned. We continue to exist without a physical body, especially with an OBE. Near-death experiences are very brief. People that have begun to control their OBEs can command it for over an hour, fully conscious, and explore, become explorer of consciousness, and truly begin to obtain the answers. But it's not hardly known in our society. I still have people come up to me. I've been teaching this for 25 years. People come up to me and still ask me, well, why would you want to do that? Answers? Maybe. We can think and function without a biological brain. This is, a lot of people don't even think of this. Our non-physical, our true self doesn't breathe air. We don't possess biological bodies. That's not what we are. We're non-physical beings, or a lot of people just throw around the term of spirit. We're non-physical beings, temporary using a biological body. We can re-enter and exit our biological body through practice. The Tibetans have done it, shamans do it. We can do it through techniques and practice. OBEs can be extended. Very important, because that's where you obtain true information, especially in a thought-responsive universe that we enter during these experiences.
And what happens, same thing with, he's talking about out-of-body experience. The same thing happens with NDEs. Everything is thought response. Everything is, it's instant, okay? You get these instant responses, but there's little parasites out there directing and telling people what to do. So we got to add that into the mix too. We have to take control of our own destiny here.
Thought responsive. Very thought responsive. That's the problem. A lot of people that have very brief experiences have, basically, they encounter their own thoughts. And they think they're encountering the nature of reality. They're encountering their own fears. This is where I feel the term of Satan and the devil come from. People confronted their own manifestation of their own fears. The Tibetans talk about this. It's nothing new, but most people have no idea. Is it possible that that's where the entire concept of Satan and the devil come from? Of course it is. People that, like these mystics of the Bible, were having these experiences, and they were trying to interpret them according to their own culture and their own society. We always must remember that. And this is where it becomes very interesting. And I'll jump ahead here. When we prolong our out-of-body state, and this becomes extremely interesting. I've done this 100 times, and it's fascinating. It's mind-blowing. And it screws over people's minds something terrible because we're so conditioned to believe we're a human. When I prolong my OB, not only myself, but hundreds and hundreds of people that I've taught and know, when we prolong our out-of-body experiences, just the very act, you move away from your body. I teach a technique called awareness now. You bring as much awareness into that energy body as you can. It's your mantra, it's your chant, awareness now. My body's here, I'm over here, awareness now. Guess what happens? Our energy body begins, our arms and legs begin to dissolve away. The humanoid form dissolves away as we begin to become our true self. The entire humanoid form eventually dissolves away, and we become at first like a teardrop of consciousness, a globe of consciousness, and then a point of consciousness. Because this is what we are at our core. We're not gender-based, we're not matter-based. We are pure conscious awareness, or call it what you will, pure spirit. Spirit is no more a humanoid form than it is a bee or a bird. Soul or spirit is pure conscious awareness using various multitude of beautiful energy bodies to experience and explore this immense and beautiful reality we're in.
Yes, Mr. Buhlman is correct in some sense. The scenery around here is beautiful, and but what comes along with the rest of it does not make up for that beauty. That's just my opinion. There's very little I disagree with Mr. Buhlman, but you know, I'm just at the point where enough is enough. That's just me personally.
Right now, all of us, as you sit here, you're extending your consciousness through the entire multi-dimensional universe to be listening to this message. Through multiple dimensions of thought, of energy, the astral, the etheric, all the way into the biological body. Right now, you're expanding your consciousness. It's part of the training that's part of the reason for being in a body. Right, it's far more interesting form of evolution we're into than what you're going to read in the books. We are far more exciting and amazing beings than my humble words can begin to express in my books even, because we're so much more than this. We're so much more than any form. Some of the Buddhists knew this when they talked about the bardos and going beyond the bardos. That's why they talk about going to the clear light, going to the void. Having the courage to go beyond form. It takes courage to do this. It takes courage to accept your true potential.
You hearing that? That's a very important message. It does take courage because we've become accustomed to this place. Lifetime after lifetime. We may not remember it, but we get familiar with it, and it's passed on lifetime after lifetime. It's embedded in us lifetime after lifetime. And it does take courage to be able to look at this type of material and say, hey, I finally figured out what the hell's going on here. And I've had enough. And I am going to take matters into my own hands and shed all this materialism, shed all this crap, shed all these attachments, and I'm going to take control of my own destiny and get the hell out of here. In all of its sub-realms. Because I'm telling you, what is out there, Earth is like a grain of sand. You know how remember how they make us feel like we're like a nothing compared to the universe? You know how they love to push that space bullshit and say, oh, well, you know, you're just a speck of sand in the beach compared to this. Well, guess what? This realm is a speck of sand, and we are way more powerful than all of that. We can transcend this entire place and get the hell out of here. But it's up to us as individuals. It's not a group journey. We can sit here and have a good time as a group and discuss things, and you know, there's nothing negative about this. It's just we have to take matters into our own hands. It's up to us as individuals to do this. No one can hold your hand and walk you through this. We all have to stand our ground when the time comes and take matters into our own hands. So I'm sorry for kind of repeating myself, but I think it's really important because he's saying the same thing I am and other people are saying. But you just got to be careful of these shills out there who are trying to get you to go along with some corrupted plan that involves you giving away a piece of yourself. And there's plenty of them out there. Particularly this elephant creature.
and then begin to express it. And it's exciting. Immensely exciting. What are we? We are an immortal and highly creative non-physical species. And we mold our self-identity and our surroundings with our thoughts. Here, this is the epidermis of the universe, the thin outer crust. It's tiny compared to the other dimensions. Minuscule. You have no idea how tiny this thing is. Once you enter the other dimensions, they're immense. Levels upon levels. All those ideas of 7 and 11 are bull. It goes beyond anything our mind can comprehend, anything more than my mind can comprehend, certainly. It's immense. This is the epidermis, the outer crust of the universe. And when you have an OBE or near-death experience, you are entering into the substructure of the universe. That's why there's a tunnel. It's a membrane. Each energy dimension appears to be separated by a membrane. And that tunnel is a representation of the membrane that we're moving into. It's amazing. And we are all of this because we are a microcosm of the entire universe. Imagine, it's all us. We're not separated. We are it. It's, you know, we are just so amazing. So what are the basics of non-physical reality? There's no air. There's no biological bodies. You know, let's grow up. The term heaven is almost childish. These realities are real. That's our true home. Let's not. That's
the heaven, the false heaven and false hell matrices out there are a joke. They're self-created by humanity themselves. We have created those. We've helped aid in that creation. And guess what? It's used against us. It's used against us. Do you want to go there and be part of that? I don't. It's up to you.
Let's look at it for the reality of what it is. There's no senses that we use now. There's no 5 physical senses. None of these things that we're used to. We have to learn the new rules of non-physical reality when you die and when you move inward, which is part of the problem. People don't know the rules, so they hover close to the physical. And this is, of course, what creates all these physical anomalies and hauntings. Why are loved ones hanging close? Because they haven't been instructed to go further inward into the universe. The universe has no linear time. There's no death. There's no aging. There's no molecular decay. None of these things exist. It's so exciting because this is us. Reality is molded by collective thought, individual and collective thought. That's what heaven is. It's a consensus collective reality of group minds that create and mold a form-based reality that people call heaven. Think of it. Does not this make sense? In a thought-responsive, subtle reality, the further inward we go into the universe, the more thought-responsive it becomes. It's incredibly exciting because we are the powerful creatures. We are the creative force. Thought energy, what controls your actions? What creates your heaven? Your thoughts.
Bingo.
And this is what I detail as the thought, basically the energy principles of thought. Thought is a creative force. The less dense the environment or energy that surrounds you, the more creative and powerful, the faster the restructuring can occur by the focused power of your own thought. The effectiveness and speed which thought restructures any energy environment is determined by the intensity of the thought and the density of the energy it is acting upon. In what we call heaven, it is a subtle reality, and our thoughts can influence it, and the further inward we go, the easier, the faster this restructuring occurs. These are not theories.
You hearing that? This is the same thing that happens when you even just apply something simple like meditation. Same thing. Even just a small mindfulness training. I can't speak enough about, setting yourself up with like a mindfulness alarm, doing affirmations, getting yourself in the zone where you're looking inward, not outward at gurus and book clubs. Or wannabe book clubs. Just to throw that out there. Some of you may understand.
These are observational facts when you have an OBE. I want to stress this. I am not presenting theories here. This is what I and others have observed firsthand. Just quickly, the evolution of soul is the evolution of consciousness. We are evolving through biological bodies. We're learning slowly, for most people, through trial and error.
Very slow.
But we can accelerate our own evolution by the way that we learn to become multidimensional ourselves. There's choices to be made. We can settle for belief systems, or we can decide ourselves individually that I've had enough of being the pawn of beliefs, governments, whatever. I have the ability within myself to have my own profound spiritual experience and to accelerate my personal evolution. And I am not totally, this is also, everything I'm saying here relates also to meditation. Yogis throughout the centuries have talked about this union and about these mystical experiences. Same applies. They're just using different semantics to describe it. Whether it be revelations, or whether it be the Quran, or whether it be yogis, or the Tibetan Book of the Dead, or the Egyptian Book of the Dead, they're all at their core referring to the same inner journey of consciousness. That is our journey. The more enlightened we become about our journey and our ability to impact our own progress, the more that we will advance through these, let's just say our evolution is accelerated. To be truly prepared for our afterlife journey, I feel it's imperative that we become explorers of consciousness today. Not believers, not readers of consciousness, active explorers. I don't care if it's meditation or self-initiated out-of-body experiences or whatever method resonates with you. All I can say is that I would compel you to do it, because actions are so much more important than just beliefs.
It's so true, because everything that we've talked about on this channel, and there's other channels talking about it too, not enough. I wish there were more, but there's a lot you have to be careful about out there. Again, when you have people chirping in your ear telling you what you should do and where you should go or who you should follow or this or that, that's when you're giving yourself up. You're in the driver's seat, and that's the only way out of here. That's the only way out of here. That's my opinion. You want to take the gamble, go for it. But that's my very, very strong... No, it's a knowing. It's a strong knowing. That's where it is. So, make of it what you will, but just don't let yourself get caught up in this mess again and get memory wiped where you're never going to know this information. This may be you may not figure this out for 5, 10, 100, 100,000 lifetimes from now. Again, do you want to roll the dice?
It's so, I think, we have the ability to accelerate our entire evolutionary cycle. Because let's face it, what is the evolutionary cycle? Science tells us about these changes around us, these biological forms, don't they? Darwin. Oh yeah, things are evolving. They're missing the entire show. Evolution is not about the body. The biological changes are the result of the spiritual changes that are happening. True evolution is our evolution through form, through matter, through the other dimensions of the universe, through the consensus realities that exist within the astral. Our journey at death is just beginning. And it's wonderful. Death should be a celebration. In our culture, it's all the gnashing of teeth and crying and everybody. My God, we've lost it completely. It's a celebration of our continuing evolution. Because let's face it, no one that has ever lived on this planet hasn't died. We're all in the same evolutionary path. We're evolving through form. We're evolving through these biological bodies. And guess what? On what commonly is called the other side, you have another body. Your astral body, or is what today called. Your light body. And then we take all of our stuff with us. Evolution continues there. We're not little Tinkerbell angels at death. We continue. We have to work on the same stuff. If you have an issue in your physical life and you don't resolve it, it's going with you. Hate to tell you this, but that's the truth. Why is it, ask yourself, why is it that thousands, tens of thousands of psychics can still communicate with your loved ones and do it effectively? And everybody thinks it's great. And I think it has its place, don't get me wrong. But why is this communication possible? It's because your loved ones are next to you. Think of it. Your loved ones are still next to you or very close. At death, people move this far into the universe. Because the universe is a multi-dimensional continuum so vast it's beyond my conception to describe. The reason they can still be contacted is because they've moved so little.
Hear that? Because they have moved so little. They get stuck here. They have not crossed over yet and been through the entire cycle and ended up being spit back out here. They're in the confused state. And that's why, like I like to say, when we're going through death, there is this sweet spot where we are taken advantage of. And if we just assert ourselves immediately and not allow the illusions to overtake us, that's our best time to maximize our exit plan. Because we just shut it down immediately. We don't even allow anything to proceed. These poor lost souls that are roaming around, looking for their body, looking to come back. If you've seen the movie Soul, that's a great example of that. Because what does he want to do? He wants to keep coming back so he can play in the band or at the club with that group and do what he loves and get away from being a middle school or high school band teacher, whatever he was. And by the way, just as a side note, for anyone interested, I am doing a soul watch party. Email me, foreverconsciousresearch@gmail.com. That's foreverconsciousresearch@gmail.com. That's all one word or all together. And just put in the email topic or email subject, soul watch party. And then I will send you out an email with the site and the login details to join us. I'll be doing a commentary on the whole movie, and then afterwards we'll have a group discussion that's open, and we'll, however long it lasts, we'll have a good time. And if we get enough people, then we'll make it a regular thing. And just really quickly, I wanted to thank AA for the $3 super chat. That's the first one I've ever gotten, and very much appreciated. Thank you very much.
To the vastness of the universe. And why? Because they're still attached to you. Doesn't it make sense? That's why they can be communicated with. We can do better. We have the ability to detach ourselves, like the Buddha said. In the beauty and the beauty of the Eightfold Path, it's about detachment, about letting go. Maybe even letting go our loved ones a little bit more.
Hear that? Hear that? He's dropping a truth bomb there because of how important it is. He says maybe, because he's reluctant. He doesn't want to lose people. That's my opinion. But he's talking the truth, because the illusions come at the time of death in the form of your loved ones. Pets, whatever. Gurus, all that stuff. So that's everything we need to be aware of. He's putting it all out there.
Ourselves. Accelerating our spiritual evolution is about this journey of consciousness far beyond the consensus realities or the bardos. Our evolutionary path is this inward journey through layers and layers of consciousness. But it's our choice whether we're going to be attached or to let it go, to be free. This is exactly what the Tibetans have been talking about for 1,400 years. Unfortunately, the way they describe it, it's so difficult. Most people can't read the Tibetan Book of the Dead and make heads or tails of it. But I'm just cutting it to the core here.
Just really quick, since he mentioned that, and I'm in agreement with him, there are some updated versions of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, but again, you're not getting the core, all right? Everyone needs this book. This is what you need, all right? Self-liberation through seeing with naked awareness, okay? The translator is right here. All right, John Reynolds. You can find this on Amazon or eBay. There is also this book available, I believe, on YouTube, where you can get the whole thing read to you. I believe, but I really suggest, like, see, I tab my books, I highlight my books, I go crazy, and especially when I'm really deep in a book that I feel can help me, and that book will help you. I promise you. So I highly, highly suggest purchasing that book. It's cheap. I think I bought it for $13 or something like that. Either way, it's definitely some recommended reading to help you I mean, the title says it, right? I mean, it's self-liberation through seeing with naked awareness. So, I just to throw that out there.
We have this great opportunity to become explorers of consciousness and obtain the answers for ourselves. And now is the time to do it. We live at the perfect time, the perfect place, and the perfect age. I would have been burned at the stake for saying these things 300 years ago, would I not?
He's right.
I would have. We all would have been burned at the stake for attending such a thing. Isn't it the truth? We would all have been witches or whatever. We're in the perfect time, and you're in your perfect incarnation to empower yourself. That's
Amen.
why you're here. That's why you're at this conference. That's why you're in this body now. Take advantage of this wonderful opportunity we have and the freedoms we have to break free from all of the man-made beliefs.
You hearing that? Mr. Buhlman, my hat is off to you, my friend. I just love this man. He's spitting out truth, and he's not saying it directly, but he is at the same time. It's a really, really great lecture. Just love it.
And to declare spiritual independence. Become a spiritual independent. Have the courage to say, I reject all belief systems.
All of them.
I am going to find out for myself, darn it. I don't need this stuff weighing me down. I don't need all this guilt. I don't need all this fear. I don't need all this indoctrination that has held back our entire evolution of all of humanity for centuries and centuries and centuries. We're at the perfect time, the perfect place to break free and become spiritually independent from all of the BS that surrounds us in our society.
Bam.
And now's the time to do it. Learn the skills of not necessarily an out-of-body explorer, learn the skills of an inner explorer of consciousness through meditation or whatever method that resonates with you. But I'll tell you one thing, if there's beliefs associated with it, I'd be careful. That's how I feel. In my workshops, I only teach one thing. I have one rule. There's no beliefs. I've rejected all beliefs 35 years ago. I have one rule in my workshops, and that is don't think about your body when you're in an altered state. That's the only rule I have. Other than that, it's about having your own experience. At Monroe, I teach people to have their own experiences. It's all about experiential. It's about your experience. It doesn't matter what mine were. I wrote 3 books on how to do this. And I'm in the process of finishing my 4th one, which I'm sure will be my last. And I tried to make it as clear and concise with no BS. How to empower ourselves to become explorers of consciousness. To just strip away all the BS and just go for it. Because now is the time. And it's exciting because this is an exciting journey of consciousness. It's fun. It is so incredibly fun. You feel so alive after one of these experiences. Like, wow. The problem is you can't express it. How do you tell someone who has no idea? And I've run into this 41 years ago. I tried to even tell my mother about my out-of-body experiences, and she just looked at me like, what are you smoking? And I don't blame her. I did have long hair. What are you smoking, Bill? And then I finally got across to her, Mom, this is for real. This is really happening. This is for real. But this is what we have to deal with. You have to have the courage to be an independent explorer of consciousness. You're not going to have a church. There's no church of out-of-body exploration, except for maybe Monroe. We have to become independent explorers, to have the courage to do it on our own, to follow our own process, to follow our own intuition. Because a lot of times we won't get support from our peer group and from our family unit even. But it's so incredibly exciting when you have these experiences and you just know, oh my God, you get these waves of knowledge that is beyond anything you can express to anyone you may know, but suddenly you become a knower instead of a believer.
And isn't that where we've come? We've come to the point where we know. You have people that will show up and they'll say, how do you know? How do you know? It takes a lot of effort. It's such a large combination of so many things to get to this point where we know this stuff. And I just say to the people that are new, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep looking. Keep questioning. Keep looking within. Don't stop. It is one of the most rewarding things you can look into. Don't get distracted by the stupid conspiracies out there. Don't get distracted by the lockdowns, or the face coverings, or this or that. I mean, all that stuff. It's a distraction. Everything is a distraction to keep you away from looking at something like this. I just cannot stress enough that this topic in and of itself is so huge, and it takes a lot of time, that all this other crap means nothing. It means nothing. It's just part of the bigger picture that helps you see it. But if you already know it, and you've already looked at the, thousandths and one conspiracy, this and that, and you've seen, okay, I see deception there. So what? Okay. What, you're gonna see the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It's there, ready and waiting on a platter to show you and prove to you that something's wrong. And then you'll move on to the next one and the next one. Just stop. Stop. It's over. That's the best thing I could suggest. I've been down this road for so many years, and I cannot stress enough that there just comes a point where you have to just say, okay, everything is meant to be that way. Everything's inverted. Everything's insane. And just accept it. But these areas, when you're talking about looking within and looking at near-death experiences, reading, analyzing, seeing the patterns, doing the same exact thing for shared death experiences, pre-birth experiences, life between life, out-of-body experiences, DMT trip reports, all this stuff, you start to see a pattern. And the pattern is so clear and so in your face that it can't be denied. And, in my opinion, and a lot of people in the chat room feel that way. So just hang in there. It's worth it. I promise you. If you're new to this, just hang in there. Just don't stop looking. But don't fall into the distractions, because it's just going to take you off the path of the most important thing you could possibly learn. Again, that's my opinion, but it's extremely rewarding. As hard as it is to accept, it's ridiculously rewarding and freeing once you figure it out.
And that's what self-empowerment is all about. And that's why I think this is important to learn this, so that we do not end up like billions of people before us are still hanging around the lowest portions of the astral plane,
Yep.
hoping to communicate with their loved ones because of attachments, because of their self-concept of, oh, I'm a woman, I'm a human, I'm still form-based. We're so much more than that. We have to let it go. And this will open up new realms that are beyond your expectations. Well, in summation, what I'd like to cover is the CD that was just released. It's called Destination Higher Self. The purpose, it's a 2 CD set. The 1 CD is to be played by the bedside, just to clarify, the bedside of your loved one or yourself who is in the course of transition. And it's basically a series of affirmations. Go to your higher self now. spiritual essence now, source now.
I'm going to rewind that because I think it's a really important thing to hear. Let's replay that.
And it's basically a series of affirmations. Go to your higher self. Higher self now. Spiritual essence now. Source now. It's a series of clear, concise affirmations. Monroe Products made it, so their quality is always superb. They use a Focus 10 hemisync, which is a very sophisticated binaural beat. Binaural beats are used at hemisync because they have been scientifically proven to help us to go into a relaxed, altered state faster. That's what they're used for. That's what I use them in my workshops. Hemisync is the name of the technology. It's been around for almost 40 years. It's the most probably well-known binaural beat technology on Earth today. Also, for those that are interested, my new workshop is called Destination Higher Self, and the entire workshop is not about OBEs, even though that's what people kind of connect me to. It is about preparing your way for your enlightened transition or for your loved one. How to prepare for this critical step in our evolution. Because it's a launch pad. People look at it in such a negative way. It's a launch, death is a launch pad. The Buddhists have been saying this for a long time. The shamans say it. It is a verifiable launch pad of consciousness if we turn it into that, if we make it into that. It's like all choices in life, it is what you make it. You can make death into a horrible, terrible thing, or it can be a celebration of a spiritual experience for your loved one and yourself. And that's what I think is the enlightened choice. So I want you to keep this in mind, that this is just an opportunity. It's a powerful opportunity. How much? Okay. We have 4 big minutes for those who have questions that may have a quick question. Yes. I see exactly what you mean. This is my take on this. What's the purpose of physical life, basically? Why be physical at all? I think part of it is, this may sound strange, individualization is part of it. I feel that that's the core element, is individualization. Remember, we're non-form-based beings. The concept of individualization, to us now, it's very, oh, you're sitting here, you're sitting here. You totally, imagine in a non-form-based reality. That is a big step to create total separation and independence. Also, I believe it's a training for extended periods for consciousness. But also, think of this. In a pure spiritual environment, there'd be no need to develop. There's no fear. There's no threats against your being. You can't die. How can you ever develop these soul qualities of courage, for instance? I'll just name one. How can you develop the qualities of an advanced spiritual soul if you don't internalize them and experience them? Think about, maybe this is a purpose for war. The soldier, in the middle of a war, a grenade lands in the foxhole. He throws himself on the grenade to save his buddy. What did he just internalize? Self-sacrifice. Incredible courage. He internalized it through his actions. We can't experience fear and death and all of these negative emotions in the pure spiritual realms. This is the training ground of soul.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. I mean, the problem is with the war is, I would imagine he knows this, that, it's all war is engineered and done on purpose. And I think it all goes back to the loosh extraction when it comes to wars. And a big part of going out of body is facing your fears. First time I did it, the first few times I did it, it's scary. It does scare you. It freaks you out because you're not used to it. It also, for me personally, I know a lot of people don't experience this, but I do for some reason, where it just drains me of my energy for a day or two afterwards, and it's rough. So, I know a lot of people don't experience that, but I guess that's just the way it works with me personally. But facing your fears, that's a huge part of it. And, I still have an issue with that. I don't go out of body that often. I wish I was able to go out more and was more invested in it, and it's something I need to work on. But I still get freaked out. And, I'm not able to explore as far as I would like to. But I do think it's important that we face those fears, because we are going to deal with some crap when we leave here, and we could shut it down quick, which is that's very reassuring to know that. But at the same time, it would be nice to be able to utilize our abilities while we're in the human body to go outside the body while we're still kind of connected here, so we're more familiarized with what's going on once we leave here, right? I mean, that's kind of just common sense. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
This is the harsh training ground of soul, where we get to experience and to internalize through our actions our evolutionary process. This is why wars will always be, because wars are part of the training. Remember, in the big scheme of things, we're immortal. This is the playing field of consciousness. It's just a playing field for the immortality of us. Now, we don't look at it that way because we're immersed in it, but once you die, this will be just a playing field where we can get to hone our own individual skills through action, through personal sacrifice, through personal giving, through personal loving. We internalize by doing it. We become what we wish to learn. That's one of the things that I've learned that was mind-blowing. We become what we wish to learn. We don't read about it. We become it. If you want to know what it's like to be a human female in the 21st century, you become a human female. That's what soul does, I find. It's wild and it's wonderful at the same time, because we are all evolving by using the tools we have, our biological bodies. And again, I'd like to thank everybody. I've just been informed my time is up. Thank you all. Thank you all.
All right. So that was good stuff, wasn't it? I mean, it's just great to hear much of how I feel and how a lot of you feel about our exit plan, or about, implementing portions of what Mr. Buhlman talks about in his lecture. I mean, it's great. my hat is off to the man. So I highly suggest checking the description. If you'd like to rewatch the video without commentary, head over to the description tab. I did add that in there. I think you may have to refresh the browser or go in the video or go outside this video and then go back in really quick and then hit the description tab, because I did forget to add it earlier and did it in the middle of the show, so I don't think it will just appear without you going in and out of the video. There's also references to his website, Astral Info, and then there's also his YouTube page, a link to his books and various other types of media with the Monroe Institute, and then also the Amazon bookstore link. I suggest really spending some time with his material. It's some of the best you can find out there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just pop up really quick. I saw Joyce had a couple questions, and then I'm probably going to wrap it up after that. If you guys do have a couple questions, maybe you can just pop them up at the bottom of the chat now, and then I'll skip through and try to get to a couple of them, and then we're going to wrap it up. I'll spend about another 10-15 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video tonight. It's really... I think I put in the description that I have an email out to Mr. Buhlman. I sent it a few weeks back, and I'm trying to hopefully get him on the show for an interview / open discussion together. So let's hope that that he gets the email and we're able to do that. So alright, so okay, Joyce says, as above so below, the body under the microscope and created in the image of the body of the... Yeah, we're created and edited within the image of the parasites to help aid in their vision or journey of this realm and its sub-realms, how they're all connected. Joy says, are we in the body of something or someone? It's a good question. Well, I mean, clearly we're in the body of someone else's design. You know, that's kind of the best way I would look at it. And our consciousness, soul, whatever, is shoved into it. And the bulk of us is firewalled off. So we have very, very little access to our true essence. So yeah, I would say that yeah, we're in essentially an alien body. That's kind of the way I would look at it. Okay. Joy says, our body keeps regenerating every 7 years. What if we are cells in a body regenerating or reincarnating? I think that, and this is going to be in a future, it's going to be a huge video series I plan on doing. It's probably going to be 6, 7, 8 videos covering the mechanics of what I suspect is going on, and how we get here, the whole manipulation factor involved, and how in depth that is, really will blow your mind. And I think we basically are. We have some say in it, but at the same time we are also very susceptible to manipulation, just like we are here. And it goes back to your comment earlier, as above, so below, all that. I mean, it's we're very prone to manipulation, deception, and we are worn down. And that future video series I'm going to do with the life between life, the past life memories, and I'm going to do like 30 or 31 cases and go over them one by one and do a commentary on it. It's going to kind of paint a picture that's pretty ugly, but I think it's important to know, because just like we're manipulated here from a young age, it's the same thing going on up there. We're manipulated up there, and we go through these, I guess the best thing to call them is like a soul school, an indoctrination camp that's going on up there. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what I think is going on. Okay. Joy says, is that why we are told we have a mission? Well, yeah, I think with the mission aspect, some of us buy into it, some of us might not. Near-death experience victims say it constantly. Or they're told it. I'm sorry, they're told that. And then they come back and say that they have a mission to fulfill. I cannot tell you how many times I've read and listened to people with near-death experiences say that, where they have a mission to fulfill. They have this to fulfill. And in the New Age movement, that's a big thing too. A huge thing, where they, they give this special feeling that you're supposed to take in and buy into. And all it is a cover for the insanity going on here. It's a cover for the Stockholm Syndrome. You know, again, it's normalizing everything that shouldn't be normalized. It's nuts. I mean, in the cells, I mean, remember, we're energy emitting biological meat suits. And we know that our energy is being fed off of. And yet we have things in our bodies called cells. Sit on that one for a minute. Crazy. Let's see. Joy says, if there was a golden age, right? I don't know if there was. You know, we've been told that, right? I don't necessarily believe it. I just don't see proof of it. There's a lot of researchers out there that say, Earth was hijacked. And I think it's probably true. But as far as what we have records for, I don't see it. I don't see that golden age. I don't see this utopia that once existed on Earth. Maybe it did exist. I would like to think that it did. But then we're also kind of led to believe that, according to ancient scriptures, that, if it was taken over, you know, where everything was messed with, that some group or groups of people, souls, individuals, whatever, agreed to this agreement or consented to something, and we got stuck in the middle of this crap? How fair is that? How much sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense. How can something like that be allowed to continue? Or maybe we were fools. Maybe we've been here a really long time and we saw that transition and we were having a grand old time before the place got hijacked and didn't really know all the fine print, just like all the stupid terms of service agreements that we, you know, the cookies that we accept when we go to websites, all that crap. I mean, it could be a very similar thing. I know it sounds a little out there, but that's the best thing I could kind of equate it to, because there's too many unknowns, just far too many. Okay. All right. So I think I'm going to leave it at that for tonight. I hope you all have a good rest of your evening, and we will meet again soon. I have a video planned for tomorrow, and it's a doozy. Wait till you see what pops up tomorrow. It's nuts. And I hope you enjoyed William Buhlman, and I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Much love and blessings to you all. I will see you tomorrow if you're around. As soon as I get up the time, video and notification will be sent out through Twitter, the community tab, and then it will also appear under the home screen of the channel. Also, if you guys are not signed up to Odyssey yet, I'm going to be doing exclusive live streams over there that won't necessarily be put on YouTube due to reasons, you know, just certain things you can't talk about here, but you can over there. So check my description tab. If you're new and haven't signed up yet, I have an invite link there, and you'll get some free cryptocurrency. And then it also helps out the channel as well, because everything over there is based on the creator and the audience interacting with, you know, other creators to be able to push your channel up or your videos into the feeds. So basically, by using the referral link, I'm able to use we each get something, and then I'm able to put it back into the channel basically. And then what that does is it gives the possibility of the channel being seen by more people. That's all. And so yeah, if you haven't signed up yet, definitely go check it out. If you like what you see, then come back, check the description tab, use the invite link. If you're already signed up for Odyssey, then just follow the link below the invite link and you can go and subscribe over there. And yeah, I'll be doing exclusive live streams over there. I think it'll be fun to switch it up a little bit. And yeah. And, you know, the Twitter, the 2 YouTube backup channels are also in the description if you're new here. If you want to sub and bell those, you won't be harassed on those unless I have to use them for some reason, which I hope I don't. And, yeah, I'm getting kind of tired. So, much love. I hope you all have a good rest of your evening, and I'll see you all tomorrow night.